Don't know if I need to refresh.
All right, I believe we're live. I know I have to stay on this page though, because it goes right to, there we go. Yeah, it goes there once I start playing.
Refresh.
There we go. All right, guys. Hey, we are live. It's good. It's gonna be a good show. We got Niko Brown on. Seen the guy everywhere. You want to talk about marketing? If you don't recognize him, then I don't know where you've been. Does a great job at it, man. Great insight. Good, authentic. One thing for me is I love the, do it your way, and don't care what other people think, man. It works, right? If it works, it works, and do it your way and have fun with it. And that's what I see happening too. So, I wanted to have Roemer on because the guy's biggest supporter of the show, probably the best looking guy we have as part of the Hold My Beer crew.
Sorry about I took that crown.
Listen, I've got a good head of hair, but his hair beats me. And Niko came on here today, I think, to kind of put those rumors to rest. I think he's got Nick beat.
I know, like I'll go seconds. That's fine. I saw your post today, Niko, so you can take that crown off me with that hair.
I'm doing a Jessica Rabbit, if you can't tell.
I can't do that, Nick. I put a mop on my head, but be about it, man. Woo. We got Tony Darnell, guy's a legend. I don't even need to introduce him. Top 5 shipper, Northern Indiana. We all know. Will Arcbest Jenkins is on the show today. Big announcement for him, though. At the end of the day, that's called growth, right? That's called development in the industry. That's called making yourself better and pooling resources together. So, congrats to you, man.
Thank you, much appreciated. It's been a crazy last 4 years, and we're just getting started. So I know I am unbelievably excited about what the future holds and what we're going to be able to do with the team. So it's time.
You got a lot of fans, and that's the cool part. You guys have done it the right way, in which, when you do something like this, there's 2 ways it can go, right? And the support you guys have had and like I said with Niko, like sometimes you don't care what people think, but sometimes you do. And to see, Andrew Silver and a bunch of other people over there at Molo putting out something saying, hey, this is why we did it. This is how we did it. This is what we did, means that, it matters to you. Not only from a culture wise, but also an employee and what their mindset is.
Can we stop for just 1 second?
Mm-hmm.
I just game has to respect game. You mentioned Andrew Silver and his fierce defense of the decision to merge with ArcBest and how it wasn't going to do anything to Molo's culture. And, some people, have mentioned that he's taking kind of an aggressive tone. And that's what I love about him.
Yep.
Like, he is unabashed. Like, yes, I got a payday, but you know what? It's not changing the reason I started this company, the reason I work for this company. Like, just bravo.
I think it says a lot about the passion that we have for this business. And there's a lot of different ways to play the game. And, I had someone hit me up the other day and, so what are you guys going to do now? I was like, we're going to go after all of the opportunities that we can and continue to grow this business. There is so much more for us to do. There are so many more resources. And I think it's important to realize that we're a 4-year-old company at its heart, right? We're still brand new and there's just so much for us to go create. So it's an exciting time.
And that aggressive tone though, too, I think it's just like, Will, you played football. I know for a fact you come out and pop somebody hard one time at the very beginning of the game, just set the tone. That's all it is. And then you go about your business. And I think that's kind of what it is, hey, this is what it is. This is where we're at. Hey, I don't have to follow up anymore after this, but hey, this is what happened. This is how it is. Because I tell you, one thing about this industry and trying to do things correctly is, it can get misstrued or put the other way because, there's a lot of people that don't do things correctly and don't do things for the best interest of their company within their morals or values or whatever they've preached forever. So when you do, you take a stance on it, I think, and I think it's part of what the industry is and how it works.
I agree.
I think
it says a lot. I think it says a lot because Will Jenkins and Andrew Silver are still going to be Will Jenkins and Andrew Silver. And that, you can count on that. You don't have to worry about that. And, you guys are creating that culture. That's going to be that culture.
Well, Tony, it's 2021. If they want to change their names, they can change their name. They just don't want to change the culture. That's the whole point.
That's right.
Is it going to be
Will
Sir
Silver.
Will Jenkins now, or
What'd you say, Nick?
is it like, are you going to change it to like Sir or Duke?
No, but if I
I'm
ever
not
end
going to
up,
buy like a title.
if I ever end up living abroad, I got to find a way to get knighted or something like that. Then I could, be a.
But here you can buy it. Like,
That's
come
so-
over.
Yeah, I was about
Scotland,
to
you
say
can buy
there are
one.
places where you can just buy a big enough property and it comes with a title.
Man, that
Yeah.
sounds.
I just goes Bill Jenkins. I think it's a little more professional. I think it's going to push you over to that next step.
You
All
know,
right.
but bravo for being mature enough not to take it to like a Big Willie style.
Absolutely not. That is out of control, and we're gonna hold off on all of that. But I might change my name here for the show. Just for the show notes.
I don't think you're to the level yet to get jiggy with it. I'll tell you that
No,
much.
I'm not, man.
Niko's on there.
I'm not, man.
All right, gang. Listen, we wanted to touch on some things today that I think are important. I think they're huge right now. Listen, what's really cool is I've talked to, or not talked to, I don't know the guy. That Gary guy, guy started like a wine company. He's all over LinkedIn all the time, all these motivational posts. He talks to business leaders and executives and stuff. I can't remember his name. He's real fired up all the time. But I've just seen a lot of posts lately about his.
You're talking about Gary V.
Yeah. About his take on like social media and what the future is and what it is right now. Social networking, he said or social media is just another word for the current state of the internet. That's it. So if you look at it from that standpoint, you either take advantage of it or you don't. And he said, people, say, oh, well, you've got 9 million Instagram followers or whatever. I've got this. He's like, well, you could spend money on things that nice things for your house and whatnot, but those aren't what's seen. Nobody sees that. They see what your content is, what you're doing out there, and it makes a huge difference. So, Niko, go into a little bit of detail on what your strategy was going into starting this business, and what gave you the confidence to roll with those strategies.
Oh man, what a great lead-in, because I can work with that, man. So the whole reason I started my company, I've worked my entire professional life in sales, which I've always called like basically like professional prostitution. I make money off of selling myself and the belief that I'm going to be a worthwhile character in an organization to my clients. And in that way, like I have to be really, really cognitive of what I put out about myself. And that's how most people do, right? You want to have, the cleanest shaven, the most, boardroom friendly look. And what I think a lot of people miss out on is that's not what sells anymore. You're not in Glengarry Glen Ross, okay? You're not trying to get the best leads. No, the people who are making a splash in the industry are normally startups. And you know why it's normally startups? Because startups start dirty. We have to take whatever vision we're trying to bring into the market and we have to plaster it everywhere. I can't pay to, buy, cost per click or cost per send solutions. I mean, technically I could, but it's a waste of money. My goal is to teach people to be storytellers, because a storyteller is different from a salesperson. And the biggest difference is a salesperson gives you a pitch to tell you what their offering is going to do. A storyteller simply retells stuff that they do in their normal course of work, in their normal course of serving their customers, in order to sell themselves as bringing value to the relationship. So, for instance, can we play a game?
Yes,
Hold
please.
on for games. Let's bring it on, Niko.
TJ, what do you do?
I host a world-renowned podcast.
Okay.
No, but what do you mean? Are you asking for my like
No,
elevator?
professionally, what do you do?
Are you talking like elevator pitch wise? Are you talking?
I'm talking if I just met you on the street and I asked you, what do you do for a living? What do you do?
I work in logistics and supply chain. I work with multiple different types of customers to help not only move their freight, but also create a more efficient process for within their operations and try to bring value to not only them, but the organization that I'm with.
Okay. Do you have something that you do almost ritualistically in your performance of your job responsibilities that you are passionate about?
Customer service, for sure.
Okay, why?
Because without bringing them value, we don't gain value sustainably. So I can get value out of something and not bring somebody value, or say I'm going to bring them value and have it maybe short term, but to build something sustainable, there has to be value on both sides. That's something I take pride in, and it's something that builds, not only long-term relationships, but a long-term career. That's what I'm here for. I get into something like this because of, you start working hard because of your family, right? That's when my work ethic really turned different, was when I had kids and I walked home and I want to be able to look them in the face and say I did everything I could for them, to give them a better future. But what happens is you get to where you start seeing that you're bringing not only value to your family, but to others, and they start thanking you and they start seeing that. That's something that makes it become addicting. I think that's one thing I love about the industry.
Okay, so you know what the difference was between your elevator pitch and what you just explained that you do passionately at your job? You gave me a reason to give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the whole point of storytelling is that you don't, work as a cog in the wheel of the logistics industry, what do you do? Mm-hmm. How do you bring more value to your customers than the other schmuck who's trying to get that business? And what you just told me is that you, TJ Knudson, go above and beyond to ensure that you're creating long-term profitable agreements and relationships with your customers so that as they perform better, you perform better.
Yep. And just
so if somebody asks you what you do, that should be your answer.
Not to affect our long-term relationship, but it's Knudson.
Oh, I'm sorry, Knudson. My bad.
No problem. I get it all the time.
See, I should have stopped at TJ and I got kind of flashy. My bad.
You're all right. You went for it. It's real.
But so like when somebody asks you what you do as a storyteller, that should be your answer. Mm-hmm. Because when you start with that, I ensure long-term profitable relationships between my company and my partner companies, both internal and external. People are going to go, I'm sorry, what? Like that's the pop that I'm looking for in almost any presentation. Like I want to put something on the table that is going to draw you to ask me more questions.
Right.
It's taking somebody down the road of a relationship and, building a personal connection without actually having to tell people that you're doing it. So it's not, I'm a logistics manager like every other logistics manager in the business. It's right up front. State what makes you a better logistics manager than the other person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's true. And, it's funny. It's kind of why I wanted to have you on, because I've realized, so when the COVID thing started and I got into LinkedIn and I got on some of these shows and I got, one thing that I always brought was kind of a hot take to it. A lot of people like complaining about this or that. And I always wanted to jump in and be like, well, then do this. And then the handle it thing, that was all part of, less complaining, more execution. And I think once the show started too, what it did is it allowed me, I didn't realize it at the time. Because once everything kind of got back to normal, we almost stopped the show. But like I saw the value in telling my story, unintentionally, but I was, and so people got to know me. And I've had new customers that I have that had reached out to me because they said they watched the show, they liked my mindset or my take on things and how I approach things. That wasn't me saying what I did; it was just kind of saying how I did it and what my approach to it was, and that's why I kept. It's not why I kept going with it. I just love talking freight. Me and Brandon Bay were on the phone with Tony one day, and we were just like, hey, man, I love drinking beer and talking freight. Let's put something together here. But then you start to realize not only that, but then the messages you get from people saying, hey, man, I'm new to the industry. I've been watching your show. I really like your take on that. I appreciate that. Like those are things that that I think not only, I think if somebody sees that you're bringing value to somebody else, I think they then understand that you can bring value to them. So if somebody's saying, hey, listen, I know for a fact TJ's put some great facts out there that could help any broker or somebody new in the industry, that's great. And I know that people are valuing that. And I like his take on things. I'm going to reach out and see if he wants to work with me on this, or if he wants to collaborate on something totally different. So that's what I found. And I've never pushed it because I haven't had to start my own company. So I've never had to push it to the level that you're pushing it at, Niko. And to see that success too there, I think is strong. Will, if you could give Niko any type of tips on starting something fresh like this. Not that you need to give him tips, but you know what I mean? Like what you kind of went through and what you saw. Now, it was a little different with yours and starting a larger organization with capital and things like that, but there's always still something that's the same. And then Nick, I'm gonna have you do the same thing. I think that's one thing between all of us really is that, you know, we've started from something of nothing and brought it to something, and he's right in that process.
So I think there are different topics that transcend industry or whatever it is that you're working on. And for me, it's consistency of effort. I think you can apply consistency of effort to anything that you're approaching. And most of that means that you have to delay the gratification that you have and give yourself the grace to work through the challenges until you start seeing the success. So right now, what matters most is being in front of your target market and being relevant. And it doesn't matter the response that you get, because eventually it will start catching on. It's inconsequential what happens the first 6, 9, 12 months. What's most important is building your brand and being consistent, because eventually you'll start to be in conversations that you wouldn't have been in otherwise because you're relevant. So that part to me is super important. The other piece is, do you have the mental wherewithal to deal with the ups and downs? Because there will be lots of downs and there will be a whole lot less ups throughout the process. And typically what happens is people, and this, I've been in sales my whole life, so it relates very well to sales. I've had unbelievably talented people who could light up a room and do more naturally than anyone I could ever train to do. But they couldn't get through the challenges. It was too hard. There were too many no's. It didn't work out fast enough. They were used to being the best at something right out of the gates. And then they got humbled by the fact that they had to actually be good and put some tools in the toolkit to work through those challenges. And so just because you don't see the results immediately doesn't mean that you're not good. It just means you haven't done it long enough. You have to keep doing it until you're relevant. And so those two things I think apply to any entrepreneurial journey, or really anything that we try to do. You want to get good at, let's just say cooking, right? Well, you got to go in the kitchen and cook, right? You got to try different stuff. It's not going to be good at first. And eventually you're going to
can't stand the heat, get out the kitchen.
100%, man. But it's the same with building a business or in sales, right? You want to build that pipeline. I need to be soliciting more people, because not everyone's going to say yes, right? There'll be a lot of people that say no. There'll be a lot of people you never hear back from. And eventually that funnel starts coming through because you were just relevant enough. So those things I think relate to anything that we're trying to do. And if you can apply those, consistency of effort and persisting through the challenges, eventually you figure it out. It's going to be tough, but eventually you figure it out. And that's, to me, that's the best way to trend towards the success that you're looking for.
So actually, a point about that, I think one thing that really helps, and it's kind of odd to put it this way, but it helps me to keep having that energy to go on, that I am just unabashedly authentic. Like, I'm not, well, I guess I am and am not putting on a show, but the show that I'm putting on is just, hey, look, this is me, just deal with it. And, I hope that people like it. I'm not out here to,
not everyone
make
will.
people like me. No, exactly.
Yep.
Not everyone will.
Percentage too. Yep.
But the moment somebody buys into my energy, the moment somebody connects with how I'm delivering my information, that tells me that that's also the best person to put myself in front of in order to sell my brand. It's people that resonate with my brand already. And that's why being a storyteller is so much about being authentic. And that's why I keep just just leaking praise out on Andrew Silver, because he is an unabashed storyteller. when he's talking about the success that Molo has had, every single time he throws up, this really great, looking pivot table with, oh, look at how we're performing. But if you read his posts, it's never about the performance. Like, he doesn't care. The driving force in every Andrew Silver post, whether he's talking about Molo's success or whether he's talking about why, they made the decision to go with ArcBest, his people are always there. Always. You don't talk to Andrew Silver without talking about somebody else at Molo Solutions. He doesn't even talk about himself that much. It's always about his people, and that's what Storyteller's about. And that's why I love being, used to love being a storyteller, and that's why I now call myself a ringleader. Because as a ringleader, my job is different. I'm not trying to be the storyteller telling my own stories. My job is to train other people in your organization to become storytellers and live that life on social media, telling people what you are delivering for your customers in every single part of your organization, every single day, because people attach to that. People are drawn into that authenticity like a magnet. So, not only learning how to tell stories effectively, but also how to make them compelling, how to draw people in emotionally. That's part of what Monkey Business was built to bring to everybody else in the market. So, why try and, hire the top of the line, best salespeople from every other organization where you're trying to, pay them more to come work for you, when what you can actually do is you can take the people that you've already hired and you can find the people who have the capability of telling stories like I do, and you put them in front of me and train them to do exactly what I do, but for your business, because it hasn't cost me $1 to get on this show. It didn't cost me $1 to get on Word on the Street, which I have a recurring spot on. I'll be on Freight Waves on October the 15th on What the Truck. Again, it cost me nothing to get there. I didn't sponsor the show like some people do to pay to get on there. People know that I'm going to keep something interesting when I'm on the screen or in the room. Let me train your people how to do that too.
And it's not just that, it's that if you get to where you like how somebody's approaching something and you feel like you can relate with them, like in this situation, how can I help it? Like I can't right now at this point in time, I can't necessarily utilize them in business or as a client or whatever. How else could I help it? I like what this guy's doing. How can I help it? That's what you also get. And that's how you get that free. And so when you talk about that emotional, so Nick, your posts and how you put things out, you always put something that engages people. I've noticed, whether it's emotionally, whether it's intellect, whether it's current events, whether it's just their thoughts on things. Is that an intentional approach there to get that going? And because you've had multiple startups before, see, I've been a part of a startup, helped grow something, but I didn't have the risk, right? So I could say I know how to do it, and I could say I know how to grow. I didn't start a company. I didn't have the risk of failure. It was more of like just being a part of that. What, value does that within how you post things and how you approach things? Like what Niko said, it seems like a different type of approach, but intentional and almost in the same category as what he's doing.
It is. What Niko is saying is like there's so many things where, like, when you guys were all talking, like, literally I could have written like I don't know how many pages of A4s. There's a couple of things that are, to me, and Will said is right, there's a couple of things that are key drivers. One of the things is, and I think that's kind of like where you see what Niko is saying and what, like, how Will and how everybody else is kind of like telling their stories, is they don't start with what they do. They start with why they're doing. And if that's the core of what you do, it's the the golden circle from Simon Sinek. It's brilliant. It is brilliant. If you start with why you're doing something, then you're telling why you're passionate about it, why you want to help, why you want. Then you tell how you do it. That's the second ring. So you like in what case you're doing it, and then at the end, like for example, like to be honest, Apple is I don't want to sell you or anything, but it's like Apple is doing that very well. They're selling you a lifestyle. They don't sell you a phone or a laptop or whatever. That's a byproduct of what they do. And if we're really, really like honest about it, they're not the best phones. They're not the best laptops. But they do something so well that nobody else is doing. And that's that why, that's that core thing. One of the other main things I want to say is, and you're saying that if you start something up, passion is not enough. Will said it, there will be a lot of doubts, more than ups. You will be in the trenches. Believe it. Like you will be, I can say it on the screen. I don't care. Like I've been sitting bloody damn sopping in my room because things were so hard. That's why passion is not enough. Obsession is required. Because you will have days where you're like, there's no way out of this. Like you're not gonna, like when people always say, oh, he's an overnight success. There's no such thing as overnight success, right? Everything that happened beforehand and whatever, it's that driving force, the obsession of helping others, creating like, I love networking. As in like the amount of people I've been able to help, you were saying that earlier, the amount of people I've been able to help that were not in my field, I just connected dot one with dot two, right? They've been able to do amazing business together, whatever. I'm not going to sit there saying like, oh, I helped that. Can I get a piece of the pie? No, because I feel if that's your ethos, something will come back to you at some point. That's what I believe. The more you give, the more you will eventually get back. And on your point of saying like in my posts, and when people say I'm not in sales, no, we're all in sales. Even as a mom of two, you're in sales. You're trying to get your kids to clean their room, to eat their food, to go to bed. We're all in sales. So if someone says they're not in sales, they're lying. Everybody is. And everybody, again, and I don't know if I'm disagreeing with you, Niko, or if I just say it slightly differently. Everybody's a storyteller, but not everybody is a good one. And I think that's not because a salesperson, I get how many DMs do we all get of people actually putting something in your DM saying like, hey, have you heard about this and this? Like, well, I'm popping up right now, Tony. Like you get so many and they've not listened. They've not listened to you. They've not listened to what you do, why you do things. And then you get sorry guys, like Tony, how many times do you have any free? I keep on asking you. But like if people don't listen, it's because some salespeople are not good storytellers, as in what, and they're not listening. Listening is not a big factor. So, and the last point, then I will stop, let someone else talk. But the engagement part is I'm generally interested in what people think. If I'm just out there to say my piece and that's it. But that's why I ask, what do you guys think? Do you agree? Because I want to learn every single day. If I've not learned something from someone, I don't sit out there and think that I know everything. I don't. The main thing is I want to learn something new every day from someone, different perspective, different. I love good conversations, good, like actually like a proper discussion of people of the opposite sides. I love it.
It's funny you say that because I always said the difference between an elevator pitch and a campfire pitch. When you're around a campfire, you're telling a story. What do you think when you picture that? Everybody's sitting there listening, right? They're listening to your story, right? When you're on an elevator, they're just wanting to get up, get out, and move on, right? I mean, you got like short amount of time. If you can gain their attention, I'm going to keep going with this analogy. Start that fire, Tony, bring the marshmallows. That's the difference between storytelling and an elevator pitch. I always say that, it's like my campfire pitch is, how do I get them to sit down and look at me while I'm sitting there? Just like if you think about a campfire, scary story, just think about that. And they're listening to what you're saying. But at the same time, it's vice versa. So an elevator pitch, whether you're in the elevator or they're in the elevator, it's a quick thing or whatever. But if I'm sitting at a campfire, I'm listening to who's telling the story as well. right? I'm listening too, because Tony could tell me he has no freight all he wants. The last thing I'm going to do is ask him if he has freight then. However, if I make a connection with him and tell him what I do and how I do things and that I want to learn from him and I grow a relationship with him, if he does end up having, if there's a chance he's got freight, Will, asking him if he has, it's not going to work. But you build a relationship with him and you bring him in as a mentor and you guys talk back and forth and you're bringing value back and forth. One day he may be 3 Leinekugels in and drop the bomb that boom, he's got freight. Right. That's a lot better way to discover it than just come out and ask him when he's told you multiple times he doesn't. Right, Tony?
That day is going to happen one day. One day.
You know what the beauty of that is? You just wholesale explained why Monkey Business is also getting into the event marketing business.
Putting campfires together?
Well, kind of.
Technically. But
what it is, if you look at trade show marketing, everybody that I talked to in the freight industry was like, like I talked to Richard Sharp over at Big Text Delivery Service, and I love Richard so much. He's an amazing person to talk to. But I met him on LinkedIn. So we've been talking about the differences in like how he operates over at Big Text and how other people in his area operate. But more than that, we've been talking about why it matters to him. And like, if you look at the content that he posts on LinkedIn, which you really should, all of his content has, either insightful, like fatherly advice next to it, or it's he tags it like fun at work. Like he loves talking about things that he just finds amusing at work. And it's like, that to me is the difference between a storyteller and a ringleader, or really what it is the storyteller and an orator. Because I'm like Nick, I don't just want to tell my story. My love comes from making connections, because when I make a connection, then I don't have to focus on my story. I can listen to your story. Mm-hmm. And the best compliment that I think comes from an orator is to turn people's own story around to show it back to them in a better light. That's the difference between when I asked you what you did, TJ, and what you do about your job that you're passionate about. And anybody who was actually looking at your face when you started explaining what you're actually passionate about doing as part of your job, like your face lit up. Like you look like somebody who was about to like take stage at a debutante ball. Like you really wanted us to come along on your trip about what you're passionate about. And that's the purpose of storytelling, is to weaponize that passion for anybody who has the same passion. So it's not like a cold call. A cold call, you make one interaction with one person and then you hang up and you try again. Storytelling is the other way around. I just put out content and trust that somebody's going to find it interesting. Event marketing, like people commonly do through trade shows, is a way of putting your brand in front of people who might not be looking for you. Like TJ said, you don't have to ask Tony if he has freight, or if you can help him with something, you just tell him what you do. And if he has a need, he'll come to you. Well, event marketing through Monkey Business is the same thing, but we also weaponize charitable giving. So as opposed to taking a 10 by 10 booth at I won't mention any specific names, but a trade show industry show or a logistics industry show, and competing against everybody else who's there with their same 10 by 10 or larger booth, trying to get the same attention from the same people who don't want to be there to talk to you. What you do when you come to us is we throw online spectacles where we put your brand along with my weird storytelling friends for a night of fun, a night of organic branding. Because again, your logo is surrounding stuff that other storytellers and other performers are doing. And while you're there, we give away at least 25% of the cost of the package for your event directly to charitable causes or directly to people through Twitter philanthropy in order to put more eyes on your show. Because we're trying to bring in people who don't care that you work in logistics. We want to get the actual decision makers where they are hanging out personally, so that if like Molo Solutions paid us to put on an event, we're going to put the Molo name in front of people who, might, if we give to a animal shelter, I'm putting you in front of people who care about animals. If we give to a children's charity, I'm giving you access to people who just care about children, and they're going to see your name. And then if they happen to have freight come down the line, they're going to remember that Molo gave to something that they care about. So that gives them a reason to go to Molo as opposed to going to Coyote or somebody else.
Because you're picking up a point there, Niko, where it's like
Coyote throws it in there.
If you put like, I don't know how many logistics company, like say 10 logistics company in a row, all of them, for example, all of them either find freight or all of them move freight, right? That's it.
Right. That's
how they do it is like, in a sense, those steps are the same for everybody who moves it, and everybody tells they move it the best, they move it the quickest, they move it the cheapest, whatever it might be, right? But those things are the generic ones. It's that layer that's kind of, you need to chip away at. What you're saying is like, underneath that layer is where it actually really matters. It's the people below that. One thing I always see as well about like, like Tony, you share that a lot, where the people behind it, right? Like behind the company, like it's the family that gets put in the spotlight. It's, these are the things that we're passionate about. Whether it's charities, whether it's, I know that the guys are into baseball, they're into rugby, they're into mountaineering, whatever it is, all the underlying stuff, that is what makes people then connect. Because then also, I love that. I know everybody moves freight. I know everybody is like quick. I know everybody can help me move my freight, whatever it is, right? But it's the people within it that I start connecting with. And this is what we always keep on saying. People buy from people. So it's, your company can do something very well, but if I not connect with you, it's not going to work. And I'd rather than say no and walk away, and find the people where I know for a fact we're aligned. And some of it is a bit of like wiggle room, but like we need to be at the same wavelength. That's where,
I commented on Chris Jolly's post today on sales. That's where in sales, you got to have your ear to the ground, looking for opportunities and seeing who you can connect with. I've been one I've just been really, there's no rules. I've been very innovative in how I've approached, strategic selling. I'm not just sending out 100 calls a day, emails and this and that. I've landed an account before because I've seen, congratulate this person. You get those random like notifications. Congratulate this person on their new role as director of supply chain at this place. So I click on her profile. I see she used to work for Guardian Glass. I said, I used to work for Guardian Glass all the time. So I find her email. I send her an email, put in the subject line, congratulations is in order. I say, hey, congrats on the new role. I've worked with Guardian Glass before. If you came from there, I know you've already, that's a great operation over there. I know you've already got the skill set and everything to make this happen. And I'm rooting for you. By the way, I see you're in Auburn Hills. We've got trucks there all the time. Trailers dropped nearby. So if you ever need anything, let me know. But congrats on the new role. And I look forward to your success. Response back. Do you do any LTL or expedites? Boom, right there. And that's not saying I'm taking advantage of that. It's saying, hey, I feel like I could connect with this person as well. I know how they do business over there at Guardian Glass. I know where she's coming from. I know what type of mindset she probably has, and she's starting off with something new. She probably, may need some help. And sure enough, there it is. And so you're always looking for opportunities. You're always looking for something to pop up. And when it does, you just got to take advantage of it.
But see, the difference between a salesperson who's just trying to make that interaction to get, an extra sale and a storyteller is that you can't fake that. So you can't fake genuine interest, because genuine interest doesn't have a sales ask. When have you ever told somebody, oh, honey, I love you, but for $500 more a day, I will love you a little bit more?
You
don't do that.
If I could save you 20%.
You're giving me ideas, man.
My wife would never pay. But it's,
my wife would be like, hell yeah.
You have to put it out there as like genuine interest. Like, one of my connections, Demetrius, and I forgot his last name because I've never met the guy, but he had a birthday the other day. And I normally ignore, oh, blah, blah, blah connection has a birthday, but I was having a weird night. So I just reached out and was like, hey, I don't know if you celebrate birthdays or not, but I think that, personally, especially with what the world is going through right now, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, there's been some stress. So, congratulations on another year of making it through. And that was it. Just dropped it there. And I didn't even think the guy was going to reply back because, again, I've never met the guy. But he responded back with this heartfelt thank you.
Because it was different. I do the same. I can't stand when you go to wish this person happy birthday, and then you hit yes or, and then it gives you like an already response that's already up there. I can't do it. I just can't. I can't hit that response because it's not authentic.
No, it has to be personal, because if it's not personal, why are you sending it? If you're trying to slide into somebody's DMs, that's what a salesperson is trying to do. I'm having conversations in my in-mail. I'm not trying to sell to any of my connections. I talk to William Holleran almost every other day. I've never pitched him a package or, a sales training or anything like that, because I don't look at him as a prospect. I look at William as a connection. Now, what has happened is, because William's constantly interacting with my content, I've gotten leads that are connected to him that have slid into my DMs like, hey, could you help us with this? That's the point of storytelling. I don't want to have to come to you when you need sales training or event marketing. I want you to see somebody else that's, sharing my content or commenting on my content, and I want them to come to me, because then again, I haven't pissed you off by, this being the 5th time I've cold called you or sent you an email or paid to send you a pointless email that you're not going to look at. Come to me. If you're ready, come to me. I'm not going to chase you, because chasing you pisses people off.
I have a hot take, and it's only because I've been in sales my entire life. So here's my hot take. I love LinkedIn. I connect with a lot of people. My LinkedIn presence is pretty strong. It's been helpful for all types of different reasons: recruiting, new opportunities, all types of stuff. No one will ever convince me that cold calling and cold emailing does not give me business, because I land so much business cold calling and cold emailing. I will never stop. It is,
yes,
like
it's necessary.
Oh, hang on. That's just a category. There's a way to do it too. I think there's a way to do a cold email.
You got to hear me out. You got to hear me out, right? If you provide enough relevant information in a cold email that is direct enough to get someone to respond to you, you now have a warm opportunity to set the stage and build with them. And so the inner salesperson in me, I love inbound leads, because obviously they're easier. It's warm. The person was like, I am intrigued about what you're working on because I saw it. Now I'm reaching out to you. So those are like slam dunks. But I love the hunt, the challenge of the fact that this person doesn't know anything about me or what I'm doing. And I have to be good enough at what I'm saying and relevant enough to get that lead moving through the cycle. There's nothing more exciting to me, because I think it allows you to actually sharpen the tools in your tool chest to be better at what you do. Because a cold opportunity might start that phone call and say, okay, so why are we talking? And I'm like, all right, let's play ball. Now I have to be on my game, because I need to use this as an opportunity to de-escalate a little bit of here's another sales call tension, and get myself to the point where now I have a friend, which is the whole point, right? I want to make relationships, want to build that. I think extremely important to understand that you got to take both sides of it, right? You need to have relevant content that relates to people and get you out there. You have to use that content to help you get in front of people who aren't interacting with you and might not know that you have a great value to add.
Well,
Okay.
can I ask you one thing? Sorry, can I ask you one thing? Right. So I've knocked doors, right? So like I think everybody should do something along those lines to get to like that. But let me ask you this question, right? And I'm keen to hear that. Do you think, because you were saying, and then we become friends, or like we want that relationship, right? Do you believe every potential client or every, whatever it is, like, should become, when you do cold calling, do you think everyone should become this warm connection friend, or is it okay to have really basic interaction because of a commercial opportunity and that's where it stays?
So in my opinion, if you want to have the business forever, you have to have friends, because those people move, they go to different roles, they transfer to different companies, they take on different positions and whatnot, but your friends will take care of you. So obviously you have different layers of personal and professional friendship. And so I think about some of the best relationships I have in freight and the relationships I have with the contacts. And I know for a fact that if they exited that business, we would not lose any business, because they wouldn't allow it, because of the relationship that we've built. And yes, the execution of the business is key, so they know what we bring to the table, but they look at myself and the business as a collaborative partner that brings a lot more to the table than just executing the business. That's like a standard to be able to see it. And so they would in a heartbeat go, hey, as a heads up, putting in my 2 weeks, but I'm going to make sure that you all still keep getting what you were getting. Here's who we need to be talking to. Here's this, here's that. Obviously, there's a bit of nuance to it. It doesn't start that way, but I had a new opportunity I was talking to today, and we get on the phone, and like the first was the Zoom. The first 60 seconds we're like laughing about just some freight stuff, right? But now I'm like, okay, you've never talked to me before. I sent you a cold email 2 days ago. We're on the phone laughing. And I see that this relationship probably is going to develop a little bit quicker because we've broken down the walls. Sometimes it might take me a year to get to the point where we're both open enough and like we're talking about life and standard things. But I think that allows you to circumvent the standard, I'll just use, all the stuff that we work through on the standard RFP cycle, the price game, the this, the that. I have customers off RFPs. They go, hey, your 10 lanes you're keeping because we want you to keep servicing them. Let me know what you need to get it done on this RFP. But that's because I have relationships. And if I didn't have that relationship, I'd have to go back to bid and we play this back and forth. So,
or they come in on our and say, hey, I've worked with customers, like, head of supply chain, he's like, hey, hey, bring me your tough lanes. Let's work together on them. Let's just see what, I'm struggling on these lanes here, after we've already bid and everything. Like I could probably help you here. I can't help you there, but I think I know somebody could, like I can get you to this rate or whatever, let me know. We'll come back. Like you can do those things with a relationship. And Will, I'm so glad you brought that up. Niko, you set me up for a segue. Will, you set me up. Everybody here, this is great. So I talked about the announcement that we're going to put out today. God, I probably shouldn't have put such a build up on it. It's not that amazing, but so I brought Pete Kemp's on. He's been on the show before. He's big in sales, financial, everything big, came out teaching and coaching into this, and he's got a mindset that is very, very unique when it comes to Nick, you've met him before too. And we are starting as of yesterday. And we'll have more information coming out though, but the Northern Indiana Transportation Club is created. So, I'll be president, Pete Kemp's vice president, Tony Darnell's executive director on that board. I'll put out some more announcements, but that's what we're doing. We're bringing people together in the industry to not just network as in let's have new business, but hey, how can we help each other? Because we're going to have people from manufacturing that are shippers, not just logistics brokers and shippers. Right now shippers are struggling, right? They're struggling with what their supply. There's no manual for this, right? What do we do? How do we do things? And there's a lot of people you can connect with that could tell you, even just between the social networking events, the in-person networking events, we're not for profit. We're going to do some fundraising. We're going to have golf outings. We're going to have some scholarships. We're going to try and help build the industry the right way, be a big part of it, make a difference for ourselves and others in our companies. And, we're really excited about it. if you look at a lot of the transportation clubs, Brandon Bay is a board advisor. He started the Nashville Transportation Club. They're Chicago. They're all cities, but Northern Indiana is unique. We've got Fort Wayne, but we've also got the Elkhart area. It's very spread out. There's not as many huge cities, but it's a huge manufacturing area and a huge crossroad. One thing about being in Fort Wayne is I've got Detroit, Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Chicago, everything right there. And it's a unique area. And I think we could bring a lot of value. So I want to have Pete on. Pete's vice president. He's one thing about him is his, what do you want to call it, Tony? Tenacity? But
at least
his passion that he brings that you guys talked about before, that, he's not even in logistics and supply chain, but he deals with people that are, and he helps them and he brings value to them through the financial industry. And it's a niche that he's liked and been able to think. And I think that goes to show that there is a lot of opportunity in this industry, whether you're dealing with it day to day. Niko, you're not moving freight, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of opportunities in the industry because there's a lot of need and a lot of help, but there is a lot of value that you can bring, and having those connections help. We may end up having to use Niko for some events, you know what I mean? So excited to announce that's been on the docket here for a while. My role model is Dave Portnoy. So I always want to be El Presidente. So I came up with whatever I could to become one, the Prez. Although Pete's the backbone of this thing, man. So Pete, talk a little bit about it, man, about what you think and what you could apply to. Go ahead, Niko.
Can I say one thing? Because Will just said that he has to hop. Because I did want to address what you said of cold calling being necessary. And please understand, I'm not countering that cold calling is not a necessary skill. I'm not even saying that you shouldn't go to trade shows because that's important for visibility. What I'm saying is, when you're cold calling, if you get somebody, like let's say you worked for Monkey Business and you're cold calling somebody and you happen to get somebody who A, has a need, and B, has seen my stupid face somewhere, you're a lot more likely for them to listen to you because they've resonated with something that I believe in than if you're just coming in cold off the street. So the point is of storytellers not to replace your outbound marketing. It's not to get rid of your salespeople. I'm not bashing them. Salespeople are necessary because they're the closers. What I'm saying is people like me, storytellers, we're not the closers. I'm here to be the guy on the pedestal screaming, "Hey, look at me," so that somebody gets Monkey Business in the back of their head. And then when somebody like you, who actually has the closing mentality, gets that passion from closing, calls behind me, now you're actually picking up more business. That's the ROI that we bring.
You're educating that there's other ways to do it, not replacing them, just that, hey, there are other ways to do it that may cost you less and may be more efficient.
Because you're going to spend money on marketing either way. The only difference is when you spend it with Monkey Business, I'm also going to give thousands of dollars away to charitable causes in your name and bring all of those friends with me to watch your event.
Like the Northern Indiana Transportation Club.
Exactly. Like one.
Gold sponsor level.
All right.
So I wanted Pete. I wanted you to talk to us a little bit, Pete.
First off, Will, I know you're getting off here, man, but Wabash College hit 700 wins this last Saturday as a program.
And the rivalry continues.
Just saying.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, as long as one of those wins didn't come against Wesleyan while I was there, that works for me.
Hey, so. Just got to throw that in there before you get off. I know, man. I appreciate you winning. Yeah, losers get lucky, man. That's what it goes. Just play enough games, right?
Liberal arts
goes into the cold call mentality.
It's liberal arts.
So, all right. So, I don't know where to get into, man. So, like who in the hell is Pete Campfire? And why is he on Hold My Beer for like a fourth time? And what the hell does he have to do with Northern Indiana Transportation Club?
That's what the comments is. That's everybody in the comments is asking the same thing.
Okay, great. So we'll kind of start with that. So I've known TJ for a long time. TJ worked for me for a short period of time, or volunteered, I guess is a better way to put it. I have to know Tony maybe about a year ago. just through happenstance, those two guys came together and said, hey, we got this crazy idea. We're going to build this transportation club. I'm like, no, cool, whatever. Like, hey, this is the differentiator. Like, this is a decentralized, like, transportation clubs have been around for a century plus, right? But the differentiator is we're going to do something that hasn't been done before. We're going to create a decentralized, regional-based transportation hub and club and networking group, and provide value. So knowing these dudes, I'm like, they had me one at, we're going to do something that really hasn't been done before. Awesome. We talk about, I love Niko's like, hey, a closing mentality, right? Salesmen come in all form. Like, obviously I'm in business development now. I'm not necessarily a closer, but I'm a top 5% producer in the United States in what I do. And what that essentially means is I know that I'm a builder, I'm a connector, I know what my strengths are. So I see TJ, who's like and I want you to take this as an honest to God truth, TJ, you're the ultimate fart in a skillet, man. You're doing 1,000 things at 100 miles an hour. You're connecting people left and right. You're talking all different ways. And you get Tony, who's like the total opposite end of the spectrum. You got a dude that's like, yeah, he's like the Fonz, like, hey, man, like he's just loving life. He's living his best life. He's killing it for Lippert.
Bear with Pete. He's easy.
Elkhart. I'm sorry, right? Got to pronounce it correct. Yeah. So in the end, I'm not a closer. I'm a builder. So I have a very specific set of skills that goes to building processes, building businesses, building plans, whatever that may be. I said, yeah, I'm in. And so as TJ goes through what he's going through in transition, and connecting Elkhart to Fort Wayne to we got Hunter now out of Gary, getting back into Funcy. We're going down to Lafayette. We're Howard Dean for all my 90s kids. We're going to Iowa. We're going to Maine. We're going to, we're going to win everything. Right? If you ever watch the Chappelle Show, maybe that's a better reference. When it came down to it, I'm going to build something. I'm going to be a part of something, and I want to build a value add wherever I can. I know that sounds a little funky and weird, but that's what fills my personal bucket. So that's the basis of my role here. Now, no one's ever going to do anything without a selfish reason or need, right? Last time we had our board meeting, we had an upfront contract come to Jesus moment. I said, I want everybody around, and I want to know why everybody's here. Because I'm going to tell you very blunt why I'm here, because I want to be the trusted advisor to every damn person I meet. I said, that's my role. So even though I'm selling services, right, like business comp plans, 401k plans, wealth management, I don't sell product, I sell intellectual capacity. So the only I can do is put myself in front of people as a trusted advisor in any way they need. And for me, selfishly, on a business aspect, there's no better way than through true networking and genuine connection. So yeah, do I do cold emails? Do I do some cold calling? Absolutely. But my success rate's very low in that, because in my industry, it's about personal, and it's above and beyond, if you will, just at B2B. B2B is very different than what we do. So I love the fact that I'm getting a little B2B action in here, because I love it. It's fast paced. It's going, man. It's rocking and rolling. But the fact that I get a herd monkeys, I get guys with different personalities in a room and gals, and we're building something great, as simple as a networking group, an educational group, and serving as a value to a simple industry, right? In a hub that's going to serve economic development across Northern Indiana. Hey, sign me up. That's my why. No BS, no hiding, up front. There it is. So there's I'm a half, if you've ever had George Dickel, it's Bottled and Bond, my favorite whiskey in the world. So I threw a cube on, meeting straight from 2:00. Board meeting, another board meeting for an entrepreneurship group for youth out of here, Northern Indiana. I was at the brewery, launch dump event, like went from there, ran home. I'm basically, I'm sitting on a podcast, man, sign me up. Let's go.
See, and he called me the fart in the skillet. And so that's what, we weren't going to do it on the show, but Niko, what you bring to the table and what you're doing and how you've described everything is exactly the reason why I said, you know what, let's just announce it on the show, because I knew we'd be talking about it. Like what Nick does, what you do, that's what it is. It's a chance to start a campfire and have people gather around and be able to tell their story, and who can bring value to each other. Everybody has a value add. And not only that, but bring value to the community, bring value to those that are in need, bring value to those that are young and wanting to learn and scholarships and things like that, and try to make the industry better one little step at a time. If you get business out of it, great. If not, you make relationships, and you bring value and you make yourself a career that you can hang your hat on and sleep well at night.
We used to have a little networking group here, and the tagline was "People first, business second," because that was like business cards were not allowed, because it was all about making connections, genuine connections. And if anybody wanted to come in, that's fine, but it's not one of these shows where you just like flyer out all your business cards and hope you get something out of it. So I think
number one thing Brandon Bates told us
thing
when he started his was exactly
Right,
that.
that's kind of
Make sure that, the biggest thing is you don't have a bunch of young brokers coming in, handing out business cards, trying to get business. And that is so key. And that's not what we want. And I like that point. What were you saying, Niko? Sorry.
Just a quick shout out. I didn't think I was going to do this. Quick shout out to Allegiant Logistics down in McDonough, Georgia.
Shay
If
Dixon.
y'all have not seen Shay Dixon and her passion for talking about what she does, what her company does, I never met the woman. I love Shay Dixon because she is doing the same thing that Andrew Silver is for Molo. She is telling the story as to why Allegiant is different. I actually just found out today that Allegiant Logistics actually specializes in aerospace parts, because I've never bothered looking at what type of freight they use. I just knew that if I was looking for a freight company in Georgia, I would go to Allegiant because of like how amazing Shay is at talking about exactly what she's trying to do. And she's also teaming up to do marketing events, like networking marketing events down in Georgia. So if you do not already, please, if you take anything away from what I have said today, follow Shay Dixon, because she has not only an extreme knack for storytelling, but
you will learn a lot.
She mentioned the other day that Atlanta is like the Silicon Valley of the freight industry right now. And I completely and unabashedly believe that she is absolutely correct. And knowing that and knowing the impact that she is making in the industry in Atlanta means that she is going to be a formidable force to be reckoned with.
It's funny that you said that. It's so weird you said that, because I literally, after I asked you to come on the show, she had put out a post about this same type of thing. And I was like, should I ask her to come on? I don't want to take away from Niko. Maybe I'll ask her to come on next week. Like, I was like, we got to have Shay on.
If you have Shay on, please invite me back on. I would love to pick her mind.
We had her on the show a couple times, I think, so far, but she's right. Hey, when you can't get things in through the ports, you got to go air. And when you're going to go air, you're going to go to the largest airport in the nation. Atlanta's hot. And she's down there making something happen. So, listen, she was great. I loved her. Everything she had to say. I loved everything. And then when I saw she had a picture with Shaq, I'm like, oh my God, this she's crazy. She's already got Shaq on board. Let's go.
You realize she's not that tall either.
No, anybody's not tall around Shaq. But no, that's great stuff. I appreciate you letting us kind of interrupt there to do that. But it goes right in with what you were saying. I love it. It's why I wanted to bring you on. Hey, listen, Mike Neeme, same thing. You said you don't got to be clean cut, boardroom. The thing real is rare. That's what it is, right? I don't care if he's got a backwards hat on or not. He's going to tell you some stuff that you want to hear. And, whether he's doing a cold call or content or whatever, he's telling you a story about something he's done before and the right way to do it. And so that's one thing.
One question to everyone that's on right now, right? And even people in the comments and whatever. Like, for me, because I'm in a sense, I'm still new to the industry, right? 3 years in, but I feel I'm new. And what COVID is, because I've been on with you guys and with so many other people on Zooms and Teams and Hangouts, whatever it all is, I've still yet to come over. But
I'm still here.
This realness and this rawness of being in each other's homes and wherever we all are, and I know Pete is wearing a tie, but do you think that's changed? And do you think people are now accept it more of say what Michael is doing, having a bloody bull cap on backside and that more acceptable now than ever before?
Yeah, I think it is, but I think there's a balance you got to have, and I think
only when you're mountaineering, you can't wear your hat like this, or like this, unless you're mountaineering.
Yeah, and we looked at it from that standpoint of, hey, everybody's into the connections, everybody's into the networking, everything like that, and I think this is huge. But there will always be that need or that want to be in person, and that's one thing with the Transportation Club we wanted to have was a, hey, it's not a every week thing, it's not a every this and that. It's a, hey, whenever you get a chance, if you want to be a part of something in which you can connect with somebody in person, let's do it. Because I think a lot of people want that, and I think what we've found is just another, like what I said with Niko, it's not replacing. Every time something new comes out, is this going to replace it? You don't got to replace it. It could just be an addition to what you're doing. It can make you more efficient. It can be a value add to it, and you can have a balance of it rather than just replacing it. You know what I mean?
100%. Because the reason for me was
a monkey suit.
For me, it was like, okay. I used to wear like a 3-piece suit all the time.
That was
right. But that was it, right? I came from an industry where everybody was wearing a suit and tie. If you would go out to meet clients and everything else, suit and tie, right? So suit and tie it was. And I remember, I don't know if anybody was on that show. It was like at the very start of COVID when we're on Word of the Street. Trey said, "Oh, guys, dress up because we got a special announcement to make." So what you said today, I've got a special announcement. If that would have been at the start of COVID, I would have dressed up, right? The last time I was on 3-piece suit and everybody comes up in like t-shirts, ball caps, and I was like, okay, I missed a trick here. So like for me, I definitely dropped that level where I feel more comfortable that I don't always need to have that. Where before you would never see me without a suit and tie.
That's what's made me, hey, it's in the freight industry. When I go visit, I've been all over the country, visit customers, sit down with them in person. I never wear a tie. Never. Because we're in freight, man. They want somebody that's real. I come in with the buzzed hair, have them think I'm in the military, and I never say that I'm not. I also don't claim that I am. But it's a real look. I sit down and I talk about real things. I'm not going to sit there and bullshit them. I'm going to tell them exactly what we're doing and how we're doing it. And if it's not something that fits with what they're doing, I'm going to ask them what we can do to fit. I'm open to say, hey, talking
about storytelling. Maybe that's my angle. Then I will be, like how Robert Bain is like the strongest man in freight. I'll be the best dressed guy in freight. I'll take that one.
There you go. You've got the hair. You've got the facial hair. You throw that in there, and hey, listen. But the Al Borland look, the laid back, relaxed Al Borland look, is not that bad. Flannel is in. My wife wears it.
Lumbersexual, man. It's a whole thing.
It is too. So, hey guys, thanks for being on. We'll put out a post here soon on NITC. Get on board. Cybus 21 want to be a sponsor. Whatever you guys want to do. We want to raise money. We want to be a part of something. We want to build communities. Follow Pete Kemp. Obviously, I don't know who isn't, but follow Nick Roemer. If you're not, then I don't know what's going on. But follow Tony Darnell. He'll throw some stuff out there. The guy's got some cojones, man. He's got some takes that he'll throw out there. He comes across quiet. This and that. He's hauled horses.
Sometimes they come in hot. Sorry.
Got nothing to lose. He's a ringleader in his own right, and he's bringing insight to those that are on the shipping side and how to do it the right way and really what all we do. So follow everybody on this show. Follow Niko. He's fun to watch. He's cool. Just watch that journey, man. I can't wait to see how he goes with it. Pete, we got to get with him, see if we maybe use it for a couple events. And obviously follow on Will's journey too. So I love making fun of Will. So any chance I get, I'm going to and follow that as well.
Will's a good sport. I love the way he takes it so friendly. And then you guys don't know the conversation is off the air. It's awesome.
I sat out in Vegas, talked to him and Andrew Silver one night, and they did the whole storytelling. Now they were about, couldn't count how many glasses of brandy or whatever they were drinking in, but the stories that were coming out were great. And it was like, we connected on a couple things and we were to help each other out on a couple things. And so if you get a chance, talk to somebody, tell your story, listen to theirs, and don't go in with any intentions besides the fact that, hey, I want to make a connection. Hey, what do they say? Your network is your net worth.
There you go.
Your necktie is your net worth. So
thanks, guys. Tonight's show was awesome. I'm looking forward to this Northern Indiana Transportation Club, and I'm excited about where it's going.
A cool opportunity, man.
You got to get the Northern Scotland Transportation Club going.
Yeah.
I got to roll.
Angola, Indiana's got a great scout connection. Just so you know, we got to get that offline.
Who does?
So you guys. Angola Power Screen. Company called Power Screen. Well, we'll go through another time. Good deal.
All right.